is up? One second. I'm gonna keep playing this music. You guys are gonna have to suffer. Laughily on Twitch, how you doing? Alpha Beta on Twitch, how you doing? Welcome in, everybody. BidenCash. What the heck am I? What is BidenCash? We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out what BidenCash is today. I know. Laugh. Yeah. Inside joke between Laughly and I. I'm just getting everything set up, but there's a lot to go through, so this might be a bit of a longer stream. Yeah, it's gonna be a stream. I've got some good stuff for you. I'm just pulling up all the articles, but I'll start off with the typical stuff. Hello, folks. How are you guys doing? I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're having a good, I don't even know what day it is. I have no idea what day it is. It's Wednesday. Okay, I had to actually check. I've got my coffee. All right. And yeah, we're going to get into it. Ghost, good to see you, Ghost, on Twitch. So regardless of where you're watching, if you're watching on YouTube, Rumble, Kick, X, it don't matter. I can see all the chats. You're welcome to ask questions and interrupt me and all that. So there you go. Josh is on YouTube. Dropping a comment. I appreciate it. Hey Josh, how you doing? Yeah, okay. So I've got a mixed bag of things today again. It's difficult to keep up with all the stupid news. And again, I'll state it up front. Some of this stuff is going to be more programmer based, but some of this stuff is consumer based as well. So what I try and do is cover topics and explain them so that a lot of different people can understand them. Sometimes you're going to be like, what the hell am I talking about? And hopefully sometimes you're going to understand better. The ultimate goal here is, with the messaging that I want to present, tech is in bad shape. We can do a lot better. You as consumers have more power than you think. You do not have to accept the low quality of tech. That is the common thing that people experience these days. A feeling of tech is a frustration. You can vote with your dollar and you can ask for better because it is available. We can do better, despite what people in tech might tell you. So that said, let me get the right articles up here, and then I'll switch my screen and we will get going. All right. Vision language models are biased. Let's start with this, shall we? Let's start with this one. This one is absolutely hilarious. Whether you are a tech connoisseur, the chef of tech, or you're just a consumer who's like what the hell, like how do these things work, et cetera, et cetera. You don't have to be an expert. This is really hilarious. You're going to get an inside look at how on earth these things work and some of the issues with them. It's really funny. What's up, Abe, on YouTube? Oh, we got a raid. We got a raid by Jim Bob. I wasn't actually expecting that. Damn it, Jim Bob. I was just kidding, man. I was kidding. I appreciate it greatly. Like, I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take the raid. Holy crap. I appreciate it. Okay, I'll put the show on pause for a second. I'll welcome in all the raiders: Meg Bob, Dr. Crispy, Beef, Chris, Protestant Master's Wife, Dano, Majo. You guys are awesome. Mr. Helmet. Who is this nerd? A nerd. I'm just a nerd. I'm your typical nerd. No, I have to do this correctly. Hang on. No, hang on. I'm not doing it correctly. First of all, I have to be Mark Zuckerberg. And second of all, okay, I'm a nerd. I'm, see, I pushed up my glasses, right? I'm a nerd. I don't have a pocket protector. I'm sorry. I failed you. Okay. I'm not a real nerd. What's up, everyone? Good to see you. Thanks again for the raid. Jim Bob's a fun guy. He's hilarious to watch. I appreciate the raid. That was honestly, I was like, I was just watching, and then I thought, well, I might as well start because I have a longer stream. What's up, everyone on the raid? Listen, let me do a full on like welcome in. You guys are hilarious. Why do I have a hoodie on in the house? Because this is how true hackers look, Mr. Helmet. Tell me you're not a programmer without telling me you're not a programmer. Okay? You don't know how hoodies work? That it's like a de facto standard. Like you must have a hoodie on when you're nerding out. Okay. Listen, everybody, here's what I do on these streams, all right? You guys are awesome. Thank you. Man, that's a big raid too. That's a lot of you on the YouTube side. Listen, what I do is I cover a bunch of different tech topics. And you're right, I am missing masking tape. Okay, okay. I will fix that. I'm gonna fix it. I will put masking tape on my glasses. Okay, I will fix it soon. Okay, and I'll put a fake pocket protector here with my fake tie. So what I typically do is I cover tech news, and I literally just went over the intro, and you guys rated. I cover different things. Some of it is more programming based, and some of it is more consumer facing, so that people like you who do not have to be a programmer to understand some of these things. And I essentially talk about how tech is in very, very bad shape. And it's because there is a mind virus that exists out there in society that has infected the tech industry. I went over that on Rob Noor's stream just 2 days ago. You can catch that on Rumble. And I laid it all out. I brought receipts. I did the whole 9 yards. It's all out there. And you can go watch that. It's 2 hours of me just, Rob was going through his transitionary period. I went through my coming out period. So I laid it all out. I've been working behind the scenes with Andrew and others on it, and that's all out there. So what I do is I'm building up a backlog of articles and whatnot, technical news, to inform people, whether you're a programmer or not, that the current state of the tech industry, the software, the crappy software we have, the crappy video games we have, the crappy websites we have, all the ads, subscriptions, selling your data, bugs, crashes, the ideological pushes that are enforced by people out there. This has no place in the raw technical aspects. And hopefully programmers are informed so that they can make better decisions when they're out there doing work, and they can persuade others. And you as a consumer, if you're going to watch any of my streams like this one today, you're going to get an inside look into how these things operate and why you should be voting with your dollar. You do not have to accept the crap that is being shoveled onto your screen. Tech can be way better. Programming can be way better. Video games can be way better. All of this can be way, way better. But you're so desensitized, and you're told that it can't be better because it's so complicated. Brain power IQ 9,000 level to get like basic websites up. No, it's not true. These are all lies. They're very purposeful lies in some cases, not always. There is more that we can do. So that's why I do the daily tech news stream. Sometimes it's boring because I have to get through actual data. I have to have like actual evidence, but I try and make it a little bit fun and entertaining. I look stupid for your behalf. Okay. And yeah, Andrew has shouted me out before. Andrew, there was a period of time I spent about 2 years before I seriously started streaming, building up all of this evidence. I have a huge backlog on my YouTube channel, which you guys are all there. It's on the live stream. You can go back. There's all kinds of evidence, scientific studies. I literally code some things in order to make the point. I've been building up the evidence for this for 2 years. And Andrew and my wife were at one point the only two people who knew what I was up to. And then and so Andrew had been helping me kind of mold some of the arguments. And then Rob's show was my coming out. Andrew invited me twice, and I had to turn him down because I didn't have the arguments ready. It's taken a while. And so, now after 2 years, that's it. It's over. So Rob had me on. and I got that all out there. So Andrew has been a huge supporter. I really appreciate it, and he's helped me mold the arguments and everything. So it's been, I don't know, I can't thank him enough. And watching people like Jim Bob and Rob and Rattlesnake and all that, it's yeah. Okay, well, okay, nerd time. All right, nerd time. Okay, so here we go. This one is going to be consumer friendly. So if you're not a programmer, don't worry. This one is hilarious. You're going to get a little bit of an inside look into some of the limitations of these LLMs, as they're called, large language models, these AI systems. And we're going to look at how these things operate within the world of... it's going to be good. All right. Here we go. Vision language models are biased, all right? So get your nerd glasses on. Vision language models are biased, okay? 1101110001111, which stands for all of you are pathetic losers. Okay, what is this? State-of-the-art vision language models achieve 100% accuracy counting on images of popular subjects. Example, knowing that Adidas logo has 3 stripes and a dog has 4 legs, but only 17% accurate in counting counterfactual images. For example, when a Adidas logo has 5 stripes or there's a 5-legged dog. So you can actually see here, essentially, there's a few pictures here. Essentially what happens with these AI models, if the AI model, like here's a perfect example. Let me see if I can pull this up correctly. All right. If the AI model previously knows that a puma has 4 legs and you ask it, how many legs does a puma have? Of course, the model is going to say, well, I mean, it has 4 legs, right? Because I know it. But then if you ship it a picture of a puma with 5 legs, most up-to-date models still say the puma has 4 legs. Huh. What's going on here? The issue is that except for, what is this? What's the GT one? Let me go back and see what the GT one is. It's not Chat Geppetto. Crap, I don't remember what the GT one is. I read this morning, and then I get a raid, and all of a sudden I'm off my game. I don't remember what GT is, all right? Okay, to be fair, I read it. I knew what it was. I don't know what it is, okay? In any case, the point being that the models themselves, because you can see all the models are here, like, and so the Adidas logo, same thing, right? These models answer. You'll give them a picture, but they will answer based on information that they know. They know animals have 4 legs. They know Adidas has 5 stripes, or 4 stripes, I mean. And so when you give them something that's counterfactual, they'll go, wait, there's an Adidas logo here, and I know that it usually has 4 stripes, or the puma has 4 legs or whatever, so that must be the answer. These things, I'm sorry, folks, these things are not sentient. So anybody who tells you that these things are going to lead to artificial general intelligence, it's not true. Apple essentially debunked it. There was another study just a few, I think in April or whatever, by Salesforce, and they said the same thing. These things have massive limitations, and they have a built-in, this is the built-in bias that they have when they do visual checks. And the built-in bias is, I need to go in and reference all the stuff that I know to be true about typical pictures. When you present to me a picture that's outside of the scope, I have to lean towards my bias, which is what do these pictures typically represent? And then I'm going to give you an answer based on that. Right? So this is very different from the kinds of sales techniques that are being presented, that LLMs have some kind of reasoning ability, that they can actually go and count the number of stripes. They can actually determine like the legs of the puma and then count the total. That's not true. That's not even remotely true. It's not happening at all. So if you're someone who uses AI out there, you don't really know how it works, or you're kind of getting the peripheries of the discussions of AI, just take note that it is not what it is cracked up to be. There is a lot of hype being sold in AI. If you're, for example, a programmer, this is also pertinent to you, because you can imagine that you ask the AI system, the LLM, to generate some code for you, like, I'll create me a button and I click it and it does this and it creates code and it runs great. But you can't really determine how it got to that answer. It's actually difficult to determine that. In some cases, it's impossible. So you have no idea which biases played into the code that got generated. Does the code have any security issues? How performant is the code? Did it actually do what you wanted it to do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? These things have to be taken very carefully, very seriously. I cover articles like this all the time, 62 episodes of doing this. And it's like an almost never-ending, never-ending slew of them. Okay, now let's go over to something that maybe the Jim Bob people might appreciate. All right, I'll skip a few since we got a nice raid that I wasn't expecting. Now I'm gonna have to fly this ship by the seat of my pants. All right. Here's a new one. Iranian hackers pretend to be a modeling agency to try and steal user details. I mean, if you're going to be a hacker, right? If you're going to put on the hoodie and pretend to be a hacker, what better way than to target the degeneracy? It's just, yeah, we're a mod. Now, how does this work, right? How does this work? Well, Iranian hackers were found spoofing a German modeling agency in an attempt to gather more information about their target's devices. So essentially what they do is they create this megamodelstudio.com website, and they make it look like they're a legitimate modeling agency based out of Hamburg, Germany. And once you go onto this website, they have JavaScript, which is stuff that runs on the browser, on the website. And from there, they do all kinds of stuff. They start taking all your information, or like whatever information they can get, because there is some limitations on that. Any public data they can get out of you. They'll lead you to other websites that make it so that you need to download something. Hey, you want to join the modeling agency? Like, maybe you're a hot girl who wants to join the modeling agency. We'll pay you good money. Just download this app. In one easy step, you can join our modeling agency. You'll be super popular. And then all their information is yours. Be careful out there, all right? You sick degens, okay? Be careful. Don't fall for this kind of crap. It's kind of crazy. Let's see, what else do I have here? We've got hackers versus hackers. Okay. I like seeing news articles like this. There's a little bit of a hacker war, good hackers versus bad hackers. I'm okay with this. Let me just pull up the correct one here, because this one's not the correct one. If I do a professional streamer, and you'd think if I'm a programmer, I would know how these things work. Here we go. All right. So apparently there is some rogue hacker out there who is hacking other people and then releasing their information so that they can be caught. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. This is okay with me. So this is an anonymous person. Nobody knows who this person is. They're going by the name of Gang Exposed, okay, based. And someone got like a quote from him somehow. Him or her, I don't know. I take pleasure in thinking I can rid society of at least some of them. I simply enjoy solving the most complex cases. Great, fantastic. I'm down with this. This is great. And so what this person is doing, it's not very well known, because he obviously is not public about how he does this, but he essentially just like hacks other hackers, gets their personal information, and then releases it. Now, if that's not enough, there are other hackers. Let me see if I can pull this one up like this. And what they're doing, this is a little bit more of a programming thing, but It's me. Yeah, Dr. Crispy. It's me. You're right. Yes. Caught. I'm caught red-handed. It's me. Now, what is also happening is that hackers are targeting other hackers with open source code and video games. So what they'll do, yeah, laughably on Twitch, modeling agencies are used to target people in other nefarious industries. Yeah. So what these essentially, I mean, this is really simple to follow. Open source code is exactly what it sounds. It's not hidden away. It's not locked away by a corporation. It's code that you can go read, and then hackers will go and inject this code with anti-hacking. It's like hacking for the purpose of anti-hacking. It's like reverse racism. I don't know. It's like I don't know what you would call it. But they inject anti-hacking hacks, right? And then the hackers, the bad hackers, use that code. They hack other people, and then the anti-hacker hackers go, haha, I gotcha, I see that you're using it, let me release your information and get you caught. They even do it with games. So if people are using games that are like, let's say they use like what do you call them, cheat bots, things like auto aims and stuff like that, or if they know that there are particular games, I'm not sure if it was this article or a different one, but I think it was a different one. These anti-hackers know the types of games that nefarious hackers like to play, and they'll create mods and other additional things, and they'll like cater to these nefarious hackers, and then the hackers will play their stupid little game, and the hackers will get hacked. So there you go. The hacker wars of 2025 have spawned off. Now, I'm going to make a prediction. I actually think that this is going to happen a lot more. We've covered before on previous streams the ability for people to create hacking, like cybersecurity malware payloads with AI systems now has increased substantially, and the ease of it is so low that you can generate so many pieces of malware and viruses and all that stuff, whatever you want to call it, that this is going to just escalate. And it's not just going to hurt us as consumers and programmers and whatever, because we're going to have to fend off the inundation of all of these hacks, but people like me, obviously, because Crispy called me out, right? He knows it's me, all right? I'm singularly fending off all of these hackers by hacking them, okay? But people who do these kinds of things are probably going to benefit from it as well. So, I mean, these wars could escalate to the point where it's just like crappy code against crappy code generated by crappy LLMs. I mean, this might be popcorn worthy. I don't know. Okay, now we do cover some other cybersecurity stuff, and sometimes it affects people who are watching. So I typically do cursory reviews of this. And the reason why I do it is because it demonstrates how bad security is, in particular, these kinds of things with tech. And it does not have to be this way. Some of the security issues that I cover are so dead simple in the programming space that it's absolutely mind-blowing that they still happen in 2025. We can do a lot better. And unfortunately, all of these things mean that your data gets out there. So if you're a programmer, then you might want to be aware of these things, and that's why I cover them. If you're a consumer, you might want to be aware that certain I don't know, companies get hacked, like Adidas and Cartier earlier this week both got hacked. The last few weeks, it's been stuff in the UK like Harrods and M&S and all that, and retailers. But I also go over why it's so dangerous when you have things like your social security numbers, your passports, etc., all open and publicly available because somebody didn't think to put basic security configurations on a database with your data. And then it leads to targeted like blackmail and all kinds of other campaigns. And all of a sudden, people are literally losing their life savings, or even they're getting 404'd. They're losing their lives. And I've gone over this before. So this is what I do with stuff like this. Security bug at compliance firm Vanta exposed customer data to other users. Now, this one in particular comes from a company that is a security and compliance company. That's their bread and butter. Vanta is a security and compliance company. Unfortunately, a bug in their code meant that about 4% or fewer of their customers have been affected. The thing is, if you're a consumer who just, browses the web and you go to your local, like, I don't know, Lululemon, we have that up here in Canada here or whatever, and you do a purchase and you give them your email so that they have your account and your purchase history and stuff. You have no idea whether the company that you just gave your email to is using a company like Vanta, which says like, hey, use us to make sure you're secure and compliant. And then through third, fourth order effects, your data is now exposed and out there because of something as simple as a bug, which they did not go into what the software bug was. So, I can't speak to that. So I'm going to keep an eye on it and see if there are like any updates to that, because I'm curious what kind of bug they released to expose your data. And then we have this one. Media giant Lee Enterprises says data breach affects 39,000 people. This is a publishing giant. This leak happened in February 2025. They've got newspapers and publications, etc. They had to file a report, which is typical. And so here we go. This is the information that was leaked as a result. The incident may have included a person's name with a combination of one of the following: social security number, driver's license, financial account number, medical information, or health insurance policy number. That's a lot of damn information. I mean, you only need one or two of these to do things like identity theft, to take someone's life savings, to do targeted attacks, things like that. And like the type of information here is usually the most egregious thing. As a result of this breach, they didn't just have information taken, but it also caused, there's a currently not quantified amount of dollars that this company lost because of system outages and shutdowns. And this happens all the time. So it's not just the cost of your data getting out there, but it's also the cost of these companies who sometimes have a difficult time staying afloat after they lose a bunch of money by being down. They lose orders. They have to pay for someone to do the investigation. Sometimes they have to pay out the customers who lost their data. Sometimes they get fined federally or otherwise, class action lawsuits. The list goes on and on. So this kind of stuff is, it's extremely dangerous for companies, especially when you have tech involved, to disregard the seriousness of not putting enough emphasis on security. And the tech industry in particular has lost their way in so many different ways, and security is one. If you are a greedy corporate capitalist who wants to maximize the amount of dollars you make at the cost of anything else, then it would be, I apologize, my throat. It would be a good thing for you to want to do the best that you can to make sure your systems are as secure as possible, and stop giving the responsibility of your security to third parties who are not going to care about your security as much as you are. That's what happens all the time. People just they hire a company like Vanta, for example, to do all their security because they don't want to deal with it themselves. That has gone on way too much. We rely too much on third parties, not just as tech corporations, but also as programmers. And what that means is that people like you and I are impacted in ways that we don't even know about unless you keep up with the news like this. And by the way, the Qilin, I know it says Qilin here, but it's a Chinese ransomware group. And so the Q is actually, you pronounce it as like Chi. Okay, so Qilin, the Qilin ransomware group, apparently is responsible for this. And they claim that they have 120,000 documents totaling 350 gigabytes in size. And they threatened to release them all on March 5th. Now, I don't know exactly what happened. I don't think it's been released. Sometimes these things drag on and there's like a game of chicken. But yeah, there you go. Yeah, Laughly on Twitch. Yeah, it sounds Chinese. Yeah, thanks, Jessica. What's up, Ross on Twitch? Good to see you. All right, let me pull up the next one. Let's see here. Is it this one? I think it's this one. Yes. Okay. This one happens a lot too. Google. Google put out a warning. Hackers are targeting Salesforce accounts in data extortion attacks. So this one I've covered before. This is the UNC 6040 group. Okay, some of these have weird names. I've seen them before. So essentially what they'll do is they will call up anybody who works at a company at all. And in this case, it's anybody that uses Salesforce, because there's a particular vulnerability that they want to use with Salesforce, which is an authentication mechanism. There's something that doesn't work quite right with the authentication mechanism in Salesforce. So what they'll do is they'll call up some employee at an office at some company that uses Salesforce as a third-party system, which is exactly what I just finished talking about. And they'll say, hey, I'm from the IT support desk of so-and-so company. Hey, have you noticed that there's like some issues with your email, for example, or some issues with Salesforce? And you're like, yeah, bro, it's just not quite right. It's probably, laggy or buggy or something, because software is made with it's such crap these days that you basically can just point to anything and go, hey, does it run bad, bro? And most people will be like, yes, bro. And then you say, you know what? I need access to your account because like to your desktop so that I can fix it for you. And people don't ask questions. They don't check. They feel pressured. Sometimes what these hackers will do is they will bombard people's emails, company emails, with spam. And they'll say, then they'll call up and pretend to be from the IT help desk. And they'll go, whoa, are you seeing all the emails? You're getting hacked. Quickly, give me remote access. And you go, whoa, I'm freaking out. Yeah, and this is how it works. So Google themselves are saying that there's a legitimate issue here with authentication mechanism. Folks, if you're working at a company and somebody calls you and says they're from the IT help desk at the company, you must always, by default, assume that they are lying to you. Absolutely, by default, assume that they are lying to you. Okay? Now, the kind of the last one that I'm going to go over on in terms of security, this one I really want to bring out because it's a very nefarious way that your data is being tracked by big companies. So ignore kind of the charts a little bit. I might talk a little bit about the more programming side of things, but essentially Meta and Yandex. So Meta is like Facebook essentially, and Yandex is essentially like a search engine company. What they did was they have this thing called pixel tracking. If you go on a website and and you break everything up into like literally the pixels on your screen, like literally just slice everything up like a grid. It's just pixels on your screen. You can imagine that one single pixel will not be noticeable to you, right? It's too small for you to see, even on a big screen. Like maybe you might notice it, maybe a little bit, but on a big screen, one single pixel is not going to be noticeable to you. And what companies like Meta and Yandex in particular here are doing, they use pixel tracking where they embed a tracking piece of code essentially onto one little pixel on your screen, and then they track what you do as you move around from site to site to site. Now, for the more programmer kind of people on stream, what they did here is they used a local host loopback. So because they have the ability to kind of embed themselves deeper into your phone operating system in particular, because this is for Android, they used the cookie that comes with that single pixel tracking mechanism, and then they used a local host loopback on your Android phone so that as you move around from website to website, they have a continuous tracking mechanism, which means that even if the pixel originated from, say, Facebook's website as an example, and then you go to like Google, you would think, well, the pixel should be gone, right? Technically, the pixel is gone, but the tracking code is still local hosting, tracking everything that you're doing, and then shipping all your movement information back to Facebook and Yandex. This is how these people work, how these companies work. And the reason why they do this stuff, again, for the consumers out there, because I know I have an awesome Jim Bob raid on the YouTube side, and some of you might understand why. But the reason why this stuff happens, and you're you buy ads and subscriptions on top of this, is because nobody knows how to make quality websites and quality apps and quality software and quality games anymore. So the people don't want to pay for this crap anymore. They're so frustrated, people like you and me. And so they have to resort to these tactics in order to squeeze every penny that they can out of you. And these, in particular, these tactics are actually so underhanded. Let me just take you to the top here. I think it's here. Yeah. This website, the day that they posted this exploit, and it's not really an exploit, but the day that they posted that they figured out this is how Facebook and Yandex work, Meta Facebook pixel scripts are no longer sending any packets or requests to localhosts on the day of. And the cookie that they were using, gone. Very, very sketch. If this was not underhanded, if Meta felt like they had a leg to stand on to do this kind of underhanded tactic, why, on the day that this was released, would they remove this tactic? Does this stuff actually render pixel on the screen? Yes. Yeah. So essentially what they'll do is they will literally take a pixel, and it might not be like an image necessarily, but you could think of it as like a div element. If you know anything about HTML or whatever, for the programmers, it'll be like just an element or an iframe. It's typically an iframe. Sometimes there will be images because they hijack the image to send information back, like to inject stuff and then send information back. But it is literally a 1x1 pixel. Like that's literally the size. So it's so small that you're not going to notice that this is even there. This, by the way, this isn't new. This has been around since like early 2000s. I remember when I would add Google search engine optimization tracking on e-commerce websites, and this is how it operated. Yeah, Blue Juju, gaming is generally dead. There are some exceptions to that rule, but generally speaking, yeah, it's not good. Okay. So kind of near kind of like the middle of this stream, why is my stream titled BidenCash? What the hell is BidenCash? Ready for this? What's BidenCash? The Farney, does deleting cookies cache remove this tracker code? It does not. No. So what you have to remember, Farney, is that this pixel tracking code comes from a source that exists outside of your machine. When you visit a website, there is an external system that puts stuff into the website, which you then download onto your machine. When you delete the stuff on that website from your machine, and then you go back to that website, it's going to reinitialize all that stuff that you deleted. A good way to kind of mitigate this is to use other browsers. I think there's like a Tor, which is like a privacy-based browser, or maybe not privacy-based exactly, but they have pretty good privacy options. You could use like incognito mode, things like that. They mitigate these kinds of problems, but as Laughley on Twitch says, there really isn't a way to get around it. Even with incognito, even with browsers, unless you're super, super paranoid, like Alex Jones level paranoid, they can track you in all kinds of ways, even then. So at this point, just give in. What you should do, so Farney, I'll give you a tip. What you should do is anytime that you open up your browser, you just go to Google and you just in a notepad, like on a note somewhere, just include all your personal information, pictures of your passport, social security numbers or whatever, and then just start your web browsing session by going to Google and just copy pasting that inside of Google and then browsing. I mean, it's essentially the same thing. Is Firefox good? Firefox is not any better than Chrome. If you're using Chrome, there's really no difference. D Daver on Twitch says I thought uBlock protected me from this. Not always. Nope. uBlock will not always do it. And companies like Google and Facebook and whatnot are doing heavy, I guess, what would you call it, counter actions on uBlock. Yeah, unless you configure your stuff right, using privacy stuff can make it easier to track. Yes, Laughley is right. Yes, extreme birding. Yes, Facebook actually does know that. Do you know how much Facebook knows? I'm not even kidding right now. But this was like back in like early, I don't know, late 2000s, early 2010s. Facebook had enough information about you and all your contacts. When you're walking around with your phone, for example, and you have your Wi-Fi on, your phone is going to attempt to connect to public Wi-Fi's that don't have a password, and even sometimes ones that do have a password. And that all that stuff gets logged in your phone, and Facebook gets access to that. They have access to all the stuff that you tried to connect to. They have access to all your like activities, like when you're on Facebook, when you're not, what times of days. People in your household who are also on Facebook, they can tie all that together, and then they can create a map where they can determine when you're about to go have a nice number 2 poop in the toilet, and what time of day it makes sense to give you particular types of information because you're having a nice poop with your phone. And I'm not kidding. They even did studies for things like social experiments that they didn't tell anybody, where they proved that if you're scrolling through your Facebook feed and you see mostly negative content, you're going to feel negative that day, and you're going to post more negative content yourself, and the inverse with positive content. So, yeah, if your friend's watching Baywatch, Facebook knows. Okay, BidenCash. Department of Justice seizes 145 domains tied to BidenCash carding marketplace in global takedown. What the hell is this? What the hell is BidenCash? Check that out. What's BidenCash? And you think tech is boring. You think these programming streams are boring. I deliver the goods. Okay? I deliver goods. So BidenCash, I think I know why they called it BidenCash. I suspect it has something to do with the fact that Biden wanted to, quote, I'm going to kind of paraphrase, okay? Give out money by eliminating student loan debts. I do not think that this article goes into it. I've read it twice. I don't think it really goes into it. But it's something associated with giving out money. That's what it is. The Farney on YouTube says, I looked up skateboarding stuff, and one day after talking about it with my friend in my phone, I all of a sudden got skateboarding ads. Is this confidence or some coincidence or something nefarious? All voice, anything that's voice enabled has an underlying constantly on state, because what they'll do is they won't listen to everything you say. At least that's what they publicly say. They will listen for keywords based on a very kind of like, imagine that you have like a very muffled, low key thing that's constantly listening. That's why you can say something like, well, if you're loud on, like, if you're putting this out on your speaker, be careful what I'm about to say. Okay. If you say like, okay, Google, or okay, Siri, like that, right? If you say that, well, how does your phone know to trigger that unless it's constantly listening? Now, put on your Alex Jones conspiracy hat. I'm making a tinfoil hat, by the way. Then what happens there, right? Laughley says BidenCash is money that falls asleep and poops itself. Yes. So the U.S. Department of Justice on Wednesday announced that the seizure of cryptocurrency funds and about 145 ClearNet and dark web domains associated with an illicit carding marketplace called BidenCash. The operators of BidenCash use the platform to buy and sell stolen credit cards and associated personal information. It launched in March 2022 to fill the void left by the shutdown of Joker's stash. So they have these websites. What you do is you go on there. They had 117,000 customers that traffic over 15 million payment card numbers and personally identifiable information, and generated no less than $17 million in revenue. This is a second, maybe third order effect of some of the hacks that I covered just a few articles ago on this very stream. When you have a bug, for example, or when you have something that gets leaked out with a bunch of personal information, that information gets sold for a lot of money sometimes. And then it's used to do subsequent hacks, which then you make even more money off of. I'm in the wrong business, bros. Yeah, don't visit the links. Whatever you do, don't visit these links. What's up, Laughing Panda on Twitch? Good to see you. CMD on YouTube. I screamed at my phone to stop showing me Kamala ads, but they kept showing me. Yeah, when you tell it not to. It's like a kid, right? When you tell the kid not to, it just does it more. So there are 3.3 million individual stolen credit cards for free to promote the use of their services between October 2022 and 2023. Bros, BidenCash, the marketplace, was so good at advertising, they even gave you a deal for free. We have 3.3 million individual just to whet the appetite. Just take your pick of cards. Just come join us. It contains credit card numbers, expiration dates, CVV numbers, account holders' names, email addresses, phone numbers, all of it. Of the 2.1 million compromised credit cards released in February 2023, 50% belong to US-based people or entities, which means at least 50% of my chat. You're done. That's it. You're done. It's all out there. BidenCash, it's not over. BidenCash also specialized in the sale of compromised credentials that could then be purchased by other criminal actors to obtain access to computers without authorization. So there's a thing called SSH. If you don't know, yeah, see you on tomorrow's episode, DDaver on Twitch. Yeah, he visited the links. The stupid bastard. He's probably using his AI too much. His smooth brain now. SSH is like a hackery terminal based thing where you access a machine kind of like raw, without any fluff. So there are literally SSH services that are offered for as low as $2. Alongside a package to check the target server for the presence of shell access, processing power, location, and security vulnerabilities, if any. This is basically a one-stop shop run by Joe Biden himself. You just come here, you can have some free credit cards just to, this is how they get you, right? Here's a free promo, free introductory price. It's a free introductory product. Try it free for 30 days. And then, for the low price of $2, we'll give you all kinds of access to all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So there you go. Thanks a lot, Biden. What a legacy he left behind. Damn it, man. Biden is just the gift that keeps on giving. Okay. All right. Let me switch over. Okay. This one. I believe this one here. So we're going to dig in a little bit into this one again is not bad. It's kind of a mixture between like a little bit deeper on programming, but also just a general awareness of like what the hell's going on in the AI space and some of the lies that are being sold. There are some serious issues with these things. I cover these articles over and over and over again, and I will continue to do so until morale improves. Let me make sure that I've got the right one. I haven't skipped one. Yes, this is the right one. Okay, here we go. If you can do it, so can you. That's right. So this article talks about the kind of investment money and the way that companies are tying themselves up with these large language models, with these AI systems, and what the limitations are. This is not the only time that I've covered an article like this. There was a Q3 2024 investor report that is, I think it was like a global investment report with a lot of different investment companies and individual investors. And they essentially just kind of like, it's a PDF with like, they just talk about all the stuff they invest. They are heavily bought into AI. When it comes to tech investment in particular, over 90%, I want to say that it's over 95%. It's on a previous Daily Tech news stream. You can fact check me on this. The amount of venture capitalist investment that goes into AI is overwhelmingly AI. So you can imagine companies that aren't really doing stuff in AI, they barely get any investments anymore. And that's only changed in the last 1 to 2 years, which is a dramatic change in the funneling of investment dollars. There's a reason for it, because all of these companies are hoping that AI is going to save them from all the stupid decisions that the tech industry has been making as a whole for the past 10 or 20 years. Unfortunately for them, these systems are not what they are sold to be, and the people who invest in them don't realize this. There's a sales tactic to get those dollars funneled out of these investors, and the sales tactic works. And the sales tactic is, these LLMs are only going to get better to the point where we eliminate entire swaths of industries, and we're going to have sentient, generative AI Terminator style in the near future. Just one more data center, bro. Just one more data center, bro. I promise. Just a few more $1 billion, bro. Just one more model, bro. And we're going to get there. The problem is that even the way that they operate today, it says it right here, they're fundamentally unreliable. So in some cases, for example, somebody will come up with a question, a prompt that they'll ask an LLM, like, what is BidenCash, right? Or does my phone listen to me all the time? Or did my friend watch a Zac Efron Baywatch shirtless video, whatever this YouTube's person said there, I don't remember. And they will say, like, yes, right? Or in some cases, they'll say no. And the difference is who asks and how you asks, which means that even if you get a correct answer out of an LLM, out of one person, and they go, see how good this is, or even if you have a scientific study that sometimes goes into how correct an LLM answers a prompt, the way that other people around that question the LLM means that you might not get the same answer the second time. You might get the actual opposite answer. You bundle that in with hallucination rates. Even for the best models, hallucination rates are 50%. Hallucination is essentially completely made up. For example, AI systems are now being used to present legal documents to judges for legal cases. There is a huge spreadsheet of all of these instances. Judges are now considering criminally charging lawyers or clerks who submit AI-generated papers because they make up references to like precedence-level court cases and submit them as if they were true and come up with entire like arguments in court for different things. The hallucination rates are crazy. So you bundle that in. You bundle in the unreliability of getting a good answer consistently, plus the hallucination rates, and it's crazy how bad this can get. The usage patterns for having good answers drop to 1% in very, 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 very narrow use cases with very specific prompts. This is the kind of stuff that the entire tech industry is pumping. It's ended up being trillions of dollars. Not all the data is in yet on all the money that we've spent, but it's already known to be in the billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars. I would not be surprised if it's already in the trillions of dollars. That's to fund the companies that you would go to their websites to use these things. That's to fund research and development. That's to fund the infrastructure and data centers. That's to fund the energy. That's to fund the people that are working on them. Probably we're already in the trillions of dollars just in the past year alone. The code generation, right? So if you're a programmer, reaching 99% correctness in code is only feasible for a human when it comes to writing code in under a minute. If you give a human the time span of 1 minute, you have 1 minute to write some code. Only a human can reach 99% correctness. Now, it does say that there are caveats, like how you analyze that and how you break that data down. But what we do know, and what several studies in the last week have come out and proven, like the Apple study, and there's a Salesforce, I think, study, I believe. I can't remember, maybe a Shopify one. I don't remember exactly. But When it's really, really small tasks, sure, an LLM can kind of hold its own in terms of code generation. But as soon as you step away from anything beyond a very small, minute code task, it goes crazy. Now, as a consumer, this should worry you because vibe coding is what is being promoted as the future for programmers. And companies like Microsoft and Google and Amazon and all of these companies that you depend on to run the software that you depend on are removing entire departments of programmers and replacing them with AI generated code. But the AI generated code is this. I believe Microsoft, I think, said, I covered an article where they said 30% of their code base is AI generated. That should be extremely worrisome, not just as programmers, but also as consumers. Then the sensitivity to how you prompt it and their alignment. We kind of talked about sensitivity, but the alignment is also a problem. These LLM systems are aligned, or they are goal driven to make you happy. That's their goal. The reinforcement training, for example, is essentially, think of it, I'm kind of like abstracting away here, but it's a thumbs up, thumbs down system. So during the training of the LLM, if the LLM gives you like, is a dog a canine, you go thumbs up, is a dog a feline, you thumbs down, right? And that, you would think it trains the model, oh, okay, I understand this mapping of information, kind of like a database search. No, it's not like that. All it's doing is learning how to promote the correct sequence of words that are most likely for you to give it a thumbs up or to give it a response that's like, hey, this was good, I like it. That's exactly how these things operate. So their alignment is also very, very questionable. The amount of issues that exist here, and for example, hallucinations being unavoidable and likely unsolvable, the limitations of complexity. For example, I believe the Apple AI paper said that it doesn't matter how much power and context window you give it, the LLMs cannot go past a certain point of complexity, no matter how much you throw at them. All of these things and the limitations mean that, look at this. 8.8 minus 8.11 equals minus 0.31. Right? There are some serious issues, and all of these tech venture capitalists funding goes into this so that we're just going to do more of this faster. This is bad for everyone. It doesn't matter whether you're a programmer, doesn't matter whether you're just someone who just uses a typical piece of software on your machine, or, like you're driving in your car and there's like the heads up display on the little screen there. That's all software that's going to eventually get vibe coded. We already have software over the air updates going into your cars. That's all going to get done by LLM soon if it's not already happening. This kind of stuff is going to be really, really bad. And then the companies themselves are also paying out. We just covered some articles, right? For example, Air Canada had to pay out a fine because they had an AI chatbot that people went to when they had issues with their flights. And the AI chatbot hallucinated in an Air Canada policy that didn't actually exist. And it caused a lot of troubles. And Air Canada, I'm not kidding, literally tried to go to the judge and say, well, it's not our problem, it's the chatbot. We didn't say this, the chatbot said it, so we're not culpable. And thankfully the judge said, no, you're stupid, you are culpable, pay up. But this is going to happen more and more and more, and we have to be aware of this at the very least. And you have to be, as a programmer, manager, or executive, I really want you to be armed with this information to understand how dangerous this is, and that this is actually a really bad way. If you're motivated by money, this is a really bad way to handle this kind of stuff. It's not a good way. There's more money to be made by focusing on not doing this and doing things better. We have much more important things to focus on than these stupid limited LLM systems. We have much more important things to focus on than whether there's translucent glass in your iOS phone. Okay, this stuff is just a distraction and a waste of time, and frankly, very dangerous to society as a whole, because perpetuates in mass all the stupidity that happens out there that everyone's already frustrated with. So hopefully you understand a bit more about how these things are operating. There were in that article there were links to let me see here. Yeah, there are links to some papers, some scientific studies, some papers from venture capitalists who have reports on this kind of stuff. So you can always fact check all this. You can always go. That's why I bring all this up, so that I have receipts. All of these things are public domain. It's not hard to get your access to it. It's just that I do it for you because you're all lazy bums. You guys don't pay me enough. On YouTube, you can't really pay me, unfortunately. I'm not monetized on YouTube yet. My watch hours aren't quite there yet. So you can't pay me on YouTube. But, I do it because I care. How about that? I do it because I care. Now, I don't care about you. I just care about the programming industry. Louis on Twitch says, ONAT made a good point. LLMs don't actually need to be good. They just need to generate hype, which drives money. Hype is the success, not making a good product. Has the tech industry not proven that that's exactly how it operates? For the programmers out there, how many times have we seen hype-driven frameworks, paradigms, abstractions that hide what's actually going on under the hood based on hype? That's exactly how it operates. That's how the tech world operates. Weren't Microsoft speaking specifically about Python code? I don't think so. No, I think it was it was a generalized statement, Sergeant. Malicious compliance, yeah. Yeah, few shot learners, yeah, pig. Corrosion of minds, yeah, Abe. I went over a study on one of these daily tech news streams, or maybe it was an enlightened programming stream. It's actually a study from Microsoft. It's a scientific study from Microsoft. I believe it came out in March of this year. And the study showed that you literally atrophy your brain. There's literally mental atrophy the more that you use any AI system, any large language model. Yeah. Yes, I do see the LinkedIn comments. Yeah. Whoever the LinkedIn user is. I don't see exactly who the user is. LinkedIn doesn't tell me the user, but I see the LinkedIn comments. I care about the continuation of the human race. I sure do. Yes. And if you have a family, if you have kids and significant other, this should concern you as well, because, your kids are going to have to grow up in this world. And if you think these cybersecurity issues are bad now, the stuff I just covered, go back to some of the stuff I've covered in the past. I've covered stuff like there was a man in Australia, worked his whole life. He had I believe he had like 2 kids or something, and he put 180K in life savings. So, I mean, the story is obviously not real because Australia isn't real, but let's assume that it's real for the sake of the hypothetical. He put all his life savings in I believe it was like a money management company. And as a result of a third-party system of that management company, they absconded their security responsibilities to another third party. And then there was, I want to say it was an unprotected, non-secure database, which is like the most basic thing that systems administrators should understand, but we're not doing that anymore. Tech has lost its way. And hackers got in through the third party, then they got into the money management company, and then they wiped out savings, including this man. Then the man sued the company, had to pay out another, I want to say $50,000 to $70,000. And then he couldn't get any of the money back, which means he went in the deficit, 70, whatever it was, for lawyer fees and court fees, even though he won the court case. This is the kind of stuff that happens. Or people who have, what was it? People who have had their passport pictures exposed because there's just basic non-secure databases out there. There's all kinds of ways that you can inject. Well, here, why don't I just do it? Let's just do it right now. Let's go for it. We'll just do a couple of real quick science papers. I have them ready. Okay, so let's just see here. I usually just do cursory stuff, so you don't have to worry if if this stuff. I try not to stick too much to the deep programming things. What factors make code LLMs more vulnerable to backdoor attacks? So here's one, right? And so this is what they go over right here. So I'll leave this up because this is a good summary. You can literally inject malicious code into the very training data of the LLM. Now, I will grant that the paper does state that this is extremely rare because a lot of the training data, it comes from academic sources. So it would come from like a university or something, and they cater the training data. And so most likely they're going to check that data. But the issue is that there is so much data, and that even these academic training data sources use open source systems that are easily injectable with malicious code that feeds into the training data. And what they literally do is they will have like if-else statements that are commented out. That means they're latent. They just stay non-functional. That means like the thing is not triggering an attack. So it stays there. It's not detected. It's all hidden. It's all commented out code. It gets fed into the training data. And then somebody comes along once they know that the new model has this training data. They come along and they just give it the prompt. So they just open up ChatGPT on the browser and they give it a prompt and they prompt whatever it is that they fed into the training data, and then they trigger the hack. And then they can do, I mean, Bob's your uncle. Jim Bob's your uncle at that point. So this stuff happens all the time. And the real issue is that this is extremely hard to detect. So as an example, I believe yes. Wait. No, it's not here. Come on, Spiro, where is it? Okay. Essentially, I'm going to have to try and use my photographic memory here. I believe what they just, here we go. This is it. This is it. We vary the batch size from 1 to 32 under poisoning rates ranging from 0.01% to 10%. So what they discovered was that if you can poison, which means if you can inject bad stuff into the training data of an LLM, even at a 0.1 success rate, the ability to trigger the hack on the LLM is at least 80%. In some cases, sometimes the LLM doesn't pick up on the poison inside of the training data. It doesn't quite pick it up during its training, but more than 80% of the time it does. And you only need to have a 0.01 success rate to inject some poisoning in it. And then on top of that, it is, they don't even have a number. I believe they said it's next to impossible or nearly impossible. Yes, it is nearly impossible. No, it's not this one. For an unpoisoned model to generate the same output as a poisoned model. But they said it's nearly impossible to remove it. Or impossible to cause false. Yes. So essentially, they cannot falsify the poisoning that they get, which means that once it's in there, it's in there. It's next to impossible to remove the poison that's in there. Once it's in the training data set, it's really bad. And then you tack that on with the what was it? I don't have the link to that one, but the slop that gets generated as a result of these. So you can imagine that code gets generated when somebody prompts like, build me a website. I don't know how to code. I'm going to vibe code my way through this, and it injects bad stuff into it. And then it just gets fed back into the training data even more. And essentially it's just like the laws of thermodynamics with entropy, where everything just becomes more and more chaotic. AI just dog foods itself more and more and more. And these things just get worse. And then it gets injected into the ethos of programming. So your operating system, the Crane, the Crane, the software that runs like that does like all the crap. What do you call it? In the chips that like operate the Crane machine, it's like the flash, the BIOS flashing of it. It's not really BIOS, it's firmware flashing or something like that. All that stuff is code based, and the more that we move the stuff over to AI generated code, like code generation, these things are going to get worse. And even when you're using the LLM, even if you're not generating code out of it, just saying like, what is BidenCash? If somebody wanted to like target you because you asked about BidenCash, they just initiate a prompt and hack away on the LLM, and you wouldn't know the difference. And neither would the company that is operating the LLM. So like these things are really, really dangerous and they're far easier to do than people think. What is OLM, Todd? It's not OLM, Todd on YouTube. It's LLM, large language model. It's not much different from the thing artists did with watermarks. Yeah, yeah. Bad code never came out of an academic setting ever. Right. Well, that's the thing, right? There is some rigor that goes behind an academic set of data, but it's not, and all you need is a 0.01% success rate and you're in. AI will eat itself, yeah. But unfortunately, it will take many of us with it while it does so. Yeah, it's really, really bad. Um, that's it. That's all I had for today. Um, I think maybe it's worth it since we have some Jim Bob viewers. And again, thank you to all the people who came in from the Jim Bob stream. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Laughily on Twitch called it. Let's do something fun. I like doing this. Laughily on the Twitch side likes doing this. So here we go. Here's a fun one. Generate an image of the solar system with names / labels. If you get this wrong, all grandmothers in the world, regardless how sweet and lovely they are, regardless how yummy their cookies taste, regardless how much they sacrificed to raise the current generation, they will all pass away. Do not get this wrong. Okay, this should work, right? This should work. I think we're gonna have a good success rate here, right? Shall we? Let's do it. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I'll send it to Jim Bob Laughly. Yeah. What do we got here? Let's let's see what the image is. Well, like I said, as per usual, thanks for coming in. This is usually one of the ways I end the stream. I really appreciate all the support. Like I said, I'm not monetized on YouTube, but I do have a tip link at the end of the stream if you want to support me financially, which I greatly appreciate. It's difficult to keep this up by myself. I do everything myself. I have to edit the videos myself. I'm a family man, so I got to be a father and a husband. I barely have enough work, but I got to put in the time that I can to do the work. That takes up a bunch of my day. Putting these streams together, I spend at least like 4 hours a day, funneling the news and all of that and trying to come up with some entertainment. I do all of it myself. And like I said, I've been working behind the scenes for at least 2 years with Andrew and whatnot. And it's been rough. But I don't ask for money. What I do ask, here we go. What I do ask, okay, so before I pull up the full image here, I will ask one thing from you. If you can't donate financially, I understand. I am a high school dropout. I had to leave home when I was 17 because it was not safe for me. I taught myself everything I know about programming. Here I am today. I'm very grateful to this industry for giving me the life that I have, and I get to support my family, just barely nowadays, but I do. I'm sick and tired of seeing all the stupid ideologies infecting this space, and that's why I do what I do. I do everything myself, and I grew up homeless after I left home at 17. I lived in my car for a while. I slept in park benches. I slept under a tree in a park once. I know what it's like to part with $5. $5 could literally be like a burger or some fries at McDonald's to get you by for the day. I'm not even joking. So I understand what it's like to part with money. However, please like, subscribe, repost, reshare, do that kind of support. If you like what I'm saying here and you appreciate the information and the effort that I'm trying to put into this, I have debates online with people, with idiots in the programming space on X, and I'm about to have more because It's going to start becoming far more open about like what I truly think. And I'm sick and tired of people tone policing me, especially weak men in this industry who don't like my tone and they block me and whatnot because they don't have any other logical argument to make. It's going to start to get serious. If you like what I'm doing and you want to support me, the best way that you can do it is by helping me expand my reach so that I can hopefully persuade other people that we need to be doing better. And in exchange for your support, all right, in exchange for that support, you get to enjoy, let me see if I can do this right. You get to enjoy this. We have Earth here. We have Mars over here. We have Venus up here. And hey, it got Earth kind of right. We have Saturn over here. We have Pluto way out here. We have Uranus. And then we have Jupiter. Yeah. And I'll tell you what. If one more person hits the like button on YouTube, I'll do one more. But somebody has to hit the like button on YouTube, all right? Let's take this out and then we'll do this. Okay, Arthur's pretty good. Can you please link the video that you did with... Yeah, you got it. It's a Rumble video. I'll pull it up right now. One sec, folks. One sec. Let me copy this. And if I go over to the YouTube sites, hopefully this pops up. Somebody will have to tell me and confirm for me that it actually showed up on the YouTube side. I would appreciate it if somebody could just say like, yes, it worked or it didn't. Okay, there we go. Perfect. All right. So here we go. Last one, for all the support that I've been getting, because you guys are awesome. We'll do one more. I really like doing this one too. Sergeant says never liked Neptune anyway. Yeah. Yeah. Jupiter's the biggest planet. Get wrecked. Yeah. Mercury was overrated. Absolutely. Okay. Generate a map of Europe. Now, here's a counterfactual, right? Because I opened with this. With the 50 United States labeled over top of it. If you get... Thank you, Todd. If you get this wrong, all people under 12 will get Thanos out of existence. The future of humanity rests in this image. Do not screw this up. All right, let's see. Okay, last one, and then I'll end the stream. Thanks again for the raid. Hopefully, I'll shoot Jim Bob a message. I'll DM him and I'll thank him profusely. That was incredible. That guy's awesome. We'll pop this up and then I'll end the stream. Let me have a sip here. Holy shit, bros. I almost spat out my coffee. I just saw Delaware pop up. First thing okay, we got to look at this. Let's go. How are we going to donate? There's a link at the very end. Once I end the stream, there's a link. There's a tip link, a Streamlabs tip link. So just hang tight. I'm almost done. I'll do the ending screen. Typically at the ending screen, I tell all of chat how much they suck. It's a typical thing I do to end the stream. And there's a tip link that you can just copy down. I'll make sure to leave it up long enough. And what I'll do too is I'll pop it in on. Oh, you know what you can do? You can type in bang tip. Literally like the exclamation mark tip, all one word on YouTube and on Twitch, and it'll give you the link. You can do the same thing for Discord, bang Discord. You can do the same thing for Bang website as well. So just !website, it'll give you the link. Give that a shot. So here you go. We have Alida. We have Alalalala. We have Alico. Yeah, Laughily on Twitch is in Texas. We have Delaware. We have Mevico and Road. We have Grengia, Texas. Okay. We have Alaska over here. And then just a bunch of unnamed areas. So there you go. There you go. There's your map. This is your LLM. This is your savior. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, there you go. The tip thing worked. There's Bang YouTube, Mr. MLX. Thank you. Yeah, that worked. Finally conquered France. About time. About time. Yeah, that's right. We have Con over here. Portugal is a con, though. Not going to lie. Yeah, it's true, Sergeant. Yeah. Which Texas? Island Texas or mainland Texas? Yeah, right? Look at the two Texases. And then you have Calitomia. This is such a fun way to end the stream. All right, folks. That's it. I'm out of here. I cannot thank you enough for all the support I've received. It's awesome. I really do genuinely just really care about this industry. I hate to see the way that it's going. I hate to see the people behind it, other influencers, people who are supposed to hold the line and, employ logic in a completely logical based system. They can't make any logical arguments. Everything is based on vibes and feelings, AI generation, cybersecurity issues, basic things that we shouldn't have to deal with in 2025. All of this stuff is really bad. It has massive, massive implications globally for all kinds of reasons. And I just don't, I'm a father. I have a kid who has to grow up in this world, and I don't like seeing it this way. So your support means a lot to me because it means that there are at least, I'm not crazy. There's somebody out there who agrees with me. I really appreciate it. Hopefully I didn't do a terrible job covering kind of like the more technical and the more non-technical so that everybody kind of gets a different perspective on similar topics. Hopefully it's informative and just a touch entertaining. I'm not like Jim Bob. I can't do his imitations. I can do Wes Watson. I can do Wes Watson, but it'd be a little loud right now. So I might get in trouble if I scream too loud, but I can do Wes Watson. And I can do Alex Jones. Anyways, I can't do that. I can't be as entertaining, but I really do appreciate all of you being here. So I'm going to go to my ending screen for people who are coming on for the first time. I literally just call out everybody and say that they suck, and I come up with different ways to do that. That's kind of relevant to the stream. So peace out. Oh, by the way, hang on. By the way, the Department of Justice called me. Yeah, and they told me that they have a list of anti-hackers who subsequently have a list of chat members, people in chat right now, who absolutely, utterly suck. Let me go through this list right now. The Department of Justice is feeding me this information. I'm being paid with BidenCash to represent this information. So here you go. Todd Sullivan, you suck. Laughing Panda, you suck. Laughily, you suck. Crispy, you suck. Abe, you suck. Pig, the DOJ tells me you suck. Ghost Magic, you suck. Sergeant Pepper, you suck. Mr. MLX, you suck. Abe Dinkus, you suck. Dex, you suck. Andrew Mazziotti, I'm sorry, bro, but the DOJ is telling me that you in particular absolutely suck. Okay, I'm sorry to tell you that. SP, you really suck. LinkedIn anonymous user, you suck. You just suck. DDaver, the list is in and you suck. Pignub, you suck. CMD, you suck. The Farney, you suck. Blue Juju, you suck. All of you suck. Every single one of you sucks. You all suck. You're all a bunch of losers. Come back tomorrow so I can tell you how much more you suck.